And now we're gonna show you another feature that can also be a part of our performance module, or it can be used on its own. So let me just share my screen. So we're going to talk about feedback culture. We know that it's really important to enable our employees to receive and share constructive feedback anytime, because stuff happens all the time. We work on different projects and stuff happens in between those performance talks where the manager used to ask for feedback. So what we've done in the last year in Gecko, we really tried to come up with a feature that would enable that for the employees. So we've built an addition to our feedbacks where we enabled centralized and simple overview of feedbacks, because we've also expanded those to be always accessible. So as Eva mentioned, we know feedbacks as part of performance talks, where manager used to be the one to request feedback about the employee, but now everybody can do that anytime. So they also need a good way to see those feedbacks, to review them. And as I've mentioned, it's really important to us that the feedbacks are transparent and actually feel more natural, right? So it's not always as structured as it used to be, as we've been used to in the past, but we really want feedbacks to be part of everyday work, just like we've come up with the performance dashboard to make things more part of the everyday life of our employees. So let's take a look of the feedback feature. And we're going to be using Bill again. And as Bill logs in, we can see that we have really prominent buttons already on the home page, always being available for him to ask for feedback or give feedback. And here, basically, we can add our colleagues to provide feedback for us, or in this case, as Eva's mentioned before, Bill is a manager. He can also request feedback for his subordinates. For example, let's use Anne. Bill is really interested in how Anne's work has been recently. We can choose who we want to ask, and we're gonna provide some additional context for the people that we're requesting feedback from. And we can see that we also provide templates for feedback requests, because if we're requesting feedback, we probably have a project or previous work that we've done, and we want to ask some specifics. In this case, we used a manager request since we're asking for our subordinate, and we can also already see what the people who will be providing the feedback, which questions they will receive. And we can see that the request was sent successfully. And how does that look like? I'm showing a different example here that Bill received the request for some feedback. So we can see who we're providing feedback for, we can see who requested it, and we can see what this is about. Once I submit it, the employee sees it and the manager also see it. But how do I view this? So we have this button here, the feedback hub, where I can see the feedback that's provided by others about me, or the feedback that I give, that I already given people. In this case, Bill is viewing his own feedback hub, and we can see what feedback he has received. Also, we have the ability of AI summary that Eva has mentioned before, where AI takes a look at the feedbacks that I'm looking at and provides a summary for me. It also shows what strengths were mentioned or what opportunities to grow. Yeah.
We're still seeing the previous screen. So.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Eva, for telling me that yes. So the whole time I was viewing the feedback hub, where I can see the feedback that I received. I can also see the feedback that I have provided in the past. So I sent some feedback to John, some feedback to Samantha, and I can see what I've sent, or I can review what feedbacks I received. I can also see the AI summary, as I've mentioned, with some strengths and opportunities to grow also clearly visible. So this was picked up from the feedback that Anne and John submitted. But if I go back to the homepage, I see that I also have the ability to give feedback. So let's say, for example, that Bill has recently worked on a project with, let's say, Andy, and he said, okay, I have some feedback, I have some good things to point out. I want to make him feel good, but I'll also have some constructive suggestions for our future work, maybe some things that were lacking, and I can click submit, and that employee will be notified, and they will be able to view that feedback. How they're notified, they receive an email, and they also see in their feed that their colleague has provided some feedback, and they can open it, and it actually directs them directly to that feedback that they have received. So they don't need to search for it. But Eva's mentioned before that we also have feedback as part of performance talks. And if we go to Anne's performance talk, we can see that a similar view here also. But in the scope of performance talks, we see those feedbacks that the manager has requested as part of the performance talk, whereas they can also access quickly the feedback hub, where they will see other feedbacks also. So feedbacks that were freely provided to Anne, or feedbacks that she maybe requested for herself as well. So we want to take all of that into account when doing performance talks, right? So yeah, maybe what I've not yet mentioned, as a manager, I can see my subordinates' feedback hubs as well. So Bill, in this case, could review Anne's feedback, and Anne would also be able to view all of these feedbacks. But yeah, the main idea here is for feedback to be accessible anytime and from multiple places in Gecko. And also we have on the performance dashboard, for that similar reason, the feedback widget as well. So here we also see a kind of badge that we get based on how good we're at giving and asking for feedback, right? Because we want to encourage our employees to really keep that in mind, that we need to give feedback and we need to request feedback, because that's really important, so that we can grow in our jobs. So yeah, access to the feedback is really simple here. So we can go from the dashboard as well, or from performance talks, or from the employee profile homeboard, anywhere in the system, basically. So that's, I think, all for Feedback Hub.